Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Manage the Wild. I'm your host, Nick Madsen. This week, we recently concluded our 2023-2024 elk trapping here in northern Utah. Utah Division of Wildlife was trapping elk. We needed to trap roughly 40 cows, 40 calves to be able to do our disease testing. The calves, they don't do any disease testing on. They just like to collar them and find out and get some survivability information and movement ecology and some of the other studies they got going on. But for the cows, they are collaring some of the cows, and then they are also getting blood tests, doing parasite work, checking for different diseases, brucellosis, chronic wasting disease. And the vet was there, and she probably has a whole list of things that she's looking at. I didn't get the chance to be up front with the vet. I have to go in the back of the trap where we sort elk. We'll run them from one pen to another and we'll bring them in through the chutes. It's kind of sketchy and dangerous work because the elk are obviously frightened. And so we only have a few people in the back, and I was one of those people. What has been interesting about this season, though, is what people are starting to do with that collar data. So before, I'd never really paid attention to it. I didn't know that you could grammar request collar data. What's interesting is hunters have now started going to states, getting the channel numbers, and they can then go and use their own telemetry equipment, and they can find where these elk are at. I didn't know this has been going on, but apparently they've started doing it in multiple states. There's a bill being run through Idaho right now, House Bill 404. And what they're doing is asking for an amendment in the Idaho code that allows for the codes, the frequencies, to not be given out, or any of the GPS information, that they wouldn't be able to find any of that, because I think that just leads you down a road that, I don't know. Utah has just been through a round of issues where they're trying to figure out whether they should use scopes on muzzleloaders. Are trail cams legal? Are radios or walkie-talkies, are they illegal to use while hunting? Because that could be unethical for a certain number of reasons. And so we're starting to have all these fights and arguments about this, and you're seeing hunters being split, whether they want more equipment or less equipment. And then you go into the fishing side where they use cameras and they know exactly, they can't tell when the fish is biting, but they can see it on the camera when the fish takes their lure and they just set the hook. You're wondering whether that's ethical or moral. And then now hunters are starting to request these telemetry frequencies. And I just think that's a sketchy road. I'm all for shutting down that information, not having that information allowed to the public if that's what they're going to use it for. I have no problem with researchers or those who want to go out and want to study elk, but if your whole goal is for the pursuit of harvest, then I think that you should go about it the way we have for the last 100 years, thousands years. Pursuing animals using your own abilities and not that of telemetry. I don't know. That just seems unethical and unmoral. So I haven't gone through yet, but hopefully it will pass. Most of the people who are voting in Idaho seem to be for it. They also don't feel that it should be public information, to where you can just pull up a frequency and say, okay, I know this bull is where this cow is, and so then you can go in there and find out where they're at. That just seems so sketchy. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you feel that it should be allowed, that hunters should be able to access these frequencies and be able to pull up the collar data and to be able to track where these animals are moving live? I don't know. just knowing how people are, how competitive people are, and how people will cut corners as quickly as possible so they can post something on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and talk about how good they are. There's already enough issues whether you are trespassing or hunting in a legal unit or using the correct weapon. Just to add that, just seems sketchy. So House Bill 404 is passing through Idaho right now. There's other states who have already shut down this data, and I just hope hunters don't go that route, but it looks like they are trying to. That's all I got for you guys today. Have a great day.